about what to do when you're driving the neighborhoods. Okay?
Is that that area you're talking about, is that near the Black Museum area you're talking about?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Okay.
So you can actually say by the harbor, that would be one of the only areas I would say no to. But the entire Baltimore, all right? I mean, anywhere, go up there, get lost would be yes.
But that's the person who get lost in Baltimore.
You can.
You don't know where you're going.
And I want you to. I want you to get lost.
Get yourself a GPS.
When you go up there, get lost, right, until you finish your work, all right? So when you're up there, what I want you to do is I want you to be writing down all the addresses to all the vacant properties that you see. Now what I want you to do is when you're communicating with the people, and you can tell whom you can talk to, right? When you're up there, you can tell who you can talk to. You want to ask them the zip code. A lot of times, and the earlier you go up there, when the people you talk to are the friendliest people, even in the middle of the day, these are the friendliest people. They'll talk to you and they'll tell you everything about that block. They'll tell you about Sarah, they'll tell you about Geraldine, they'll tell you about everybody on the block, when they lived there, when they moved out, when they moved out, what happened to the house after they moved out, when the squatters moved in. They'll tell you everything.
That's right.
And that's what I want you to do.
They'll give you the real deal.
Yes. I want you to be Matlock in Baltimore. I want you to be that Peter Falk character. I want you to be up there talking to people and getting into what's going on. Now, Lola and I haven't even done this. This is what I would want you to do too, if you can. And I've done it in the early days. We haven't done it lately. Become a part of the civic community block of organizations and associations. Find out what's going on, what the people in the block want to happen to the houses and stuff like that. Find out what's going on with the houses that are boarded up and who owns them, where the people are.
Do you recommend dressing up?
Sorry?
Do you recommend dressing up to do this?
Never dress up.
No.
Never dress
Like,
up.
Don't look
Jeans and t-shirt. I don't want, right, mostly everybody in here, y'all dressed up too much. I want y'all to be dressed completely down, just be chill, go into the neighborhood, and just, be yourself and just talk.
I mean, it's funny, I just was copying, taking some stuff off of the camcorder, and I saw one of the caravans. See, if I see you walk past, I'm talking to you. If we out there in the street and I saw myself running somebody down, but that's how you learn about your neighborhood. Don't be afraid to talk to people. If they're sitting on the corner and you see they're looking, all you gotta do is look at me. If you start looking at me, we talking.
Catch eye contact,
That's
and if they're the right people, you can tell. So that's what I'm telling you. You can tell if you catch eye contact with the people. You can tell if it's okay to approach them, talk to them, ask them all the questions. And the simple question is do you know about that house? And that'll do it. All right. So I want you to do that because that's the riches, especially in Baltimore. Remember, we're talking about an inner city area, and the only other inner city area that we have close to us is D.C. And right now, D.C. is too rich, too pricey for what we're trying to do.
And with regard to getting lost, I just want to say, y'all know the only place you can really get lost is like in the middle of an Aztec jungle, right? You can't get lost in anybody's city.
No.
If you make enough rights and enough lefts, you're
coming
going to come out somewhere that you know. You cannot get lost in a city. It's just, you may feel like you're lost,
right,
but it's not like if you were stuck in the Amazon or something that that all the trees look alike. You got street names, you got different places. So don't ever be afraid of that. You can't get lost. Because I've gotten lost. That's how I know better where I'm going, and that's how you hate with his sister-in-law was coming over to the house and she was just lost. And his brother was at the house and I said, oh, she's lost. And he said, yeah, I know. And that's because she gets lost everywhere she goes. But that's how she learns all the different neighborhoods that she goes to.
And Martin Luther King Avenue, when you're lost, Martin Luther King Avenue will almost take you out of any city.
Yeah.
That's right.
Baltimore got so many little drop down places.
It does. But you can get out, and let me tell you, the people. I tell you, the thugs do not want you. If they got stuff going on, they don't want you there. So they gonna lead you out. They want you there. Huh?
They're gonna take you the quickest way possible.
The quickest way possible. They don't want you around because they know that you're a hazard to them. They don't want they don't want to murder you at all. They might, the guy that didn't bring them back their cash, they might want him. They don't want you. So don't ever worry about that.
Oh,
You're
I'm not
gonna-
afraid of that. I was born and raised in D.C., so I ain't,
Oh, yeah,
I ain't
yeah.
worried about the thugs. I know how to interact
Go ahead,
with
Miss
them.
Jeremy. Go ahead.
I just been in Baltimore, and if I had been driving, I'd probably still be in Baltimore. But just just so many little places you can
Yeah.
drop down in, and then you out somewhere out far.
And that's where you
then,
gonna find your
you
deals
know.
and drop down.
Those are deals. That's your riches there. That's why I want you to get into that. That's why I say start out early. Start out at 7 in the morning. Start out at,
Because it is quiet in the morning. I
It's
used to
quiet.
be down when I was in the
Yeah.
reserve unit.
So
Quiet.
number 5 is the one, because it doesn't cost you money other than it costs you some gas. And I'm even okay with you parking your car and getting out of your car and doing the walking around. Getting, I don't want you to go behind buildings right now. I don't want nobody doing that. I don't want anybody doing that just yet. But later on, you'll be able to know when you can go behind a building and see what's going on. I do it all the time, and I'm still funny. I don't go in the basements at all. I do the head.
What you afraid of in the basement?
Hey, what's
No.
my
In
take the
Baltimore,
video
you be a
camera.
person down
He
there.
go, "That's
Just take his the camera and hold it down there, click.
Let's say everybody run out, huh?
So here's a lesson too. And the reason why I love doing the 29 ways, because it gives me an opportunity to give you lessons too. Now you guys are going to need to learn how to price properties. All right. Don't worry about accurate pricing. I want you just to get a general idea of pricing. All right. So what I want you to do is every single time you're in a property. What was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say.
Said something about pricing.
Oh yeah, pricing properties. When you
So you find a.
put
I'm
these
sorry.
properties under contract, just give me, because I promise you it'll be in Baltimore before I know it. When you're in these properties, you put them under contract, and you get the other investors and other contractors to come look at these properties. I want you to stick with them like glue. And every time that they price out something, I want you to ask them why. I want you to find out why they price it out in such a way. So this is how you will learn how to cost out pricing in properties. Does this make sense? Mm-hmm. No? Okay.
I don't know what cost out.
Which means if you need to redo a roof, how much will it cost? If you need to put in new electrical, how much will it cost? If the basement needs to be dug out, how much will it cost? So you bring in these people when they come in. Most of the time, contractors and other investors are whom are going to be looking at your properties. You're never going to sell a property. Never, never, never selling a property to somebody that's going to live in it, as is. That's not what we do.
So
All right,
selling
everybody's
to
clear?
rehabbers.
Huh?
Selling to
Exactly. We sell to landlords, rehabbers, and developers. Those are our primary customers.
Okay.
So those, and most contractors and other investors that's in that category, they know how to price things out. Sometimes, like yesterday, well, actually your deal, Mitch is sending over his contractor. If Michael didn't know as much as he does know about properties, I would say that he should be there when the contractor walks through. Every time a contractor walks through your house, you walk through with them for the first few months so you can learn what pricings are. Okay? You want to be with the contractor everywhere they go. I used to step on their heels all the time. They say, "What are you doing?" I need to know. 3 months in a row, every single person that went to any house that I had, I went with them. And that's how I learned. Now I can walk in a house and just look around, and I can tell you 20,000, 19,000, 17,000. I can go in and just peek my head in, smell. That's 13,000, and I'm usually within a $4,000 to $5,000 margin. All right. So this is a technique that when you read the books, like this is one of the books that people read. It ain't telling you that. This is the real deal. All right. So walk through the house with contractors.
I can make a because we have some CDs and DVDs and stuff being printed. I can make that available for you guys to purchase, one of the caravan CDs. Would that be helpful? You think if we had a CD that showed you how to go through the properties and what we
Yes,
Sure.
yes.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Okay, here we go. This is another one that's on the same vein as 5, 6. Looking at the houses with poor upkeep. This definitely works very, very well. Same thing. Now you guys know where to take the information, right? I've given that information out at some of the presentations. Where to take the information for the abandoned, boarded up, vacant properties when you want to find the owners. You don't know this one, right? You've never been in one of the presentations. Go to sdat.org.
D8.
Sam, David, Apple, Tom. Actually, Lola's actually giving you even better than that. It's going to give you, you're going to be able to go right into.
Yeah, when I send you the email, and I'm gonna pass the email out that I'm gonna email to
Yeah.
you, and it's gonna have the link at the bottom of it, so you won't even have to type it in. You open up the email, give you the instructions, click on the link, they'll take you straight to SDAT and to the database that we use.
Wow.
You can write it down, but.
Right, but so sdat.org is the place when you out in the street and you're writing down addresses and you want to find out who the owner is.
Okay.
I mean, today you actually, usually I'll just say you got to figure out what to write, you got to figure out what to say, you got to figure out. Now we giving you everything, which is super.
Got a question.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, remember y'all, I
You
don't
can't see it now.
have nothing, so you got
I'm
to
sorry,
screen
I
that.
should attach it.
Here, give us something so you can throw at me.
If the sdat.org lists that home address for the person, how do you find them through after that?
Yes, I remember the owner's actual address.
Oh,
Right.
you're saying if SDAT.org has them listed at that
That
address?
But the abandoned address, how do you find them?
Well, you can do searches, you all can use, Zaba search, Z-A-B-A search.com.
Write this down.
Z-A?
Z-A-B-A, Zoo, Apple, Bob, Apple, search.com. You can use ZabaSearch.com. Their paid searches, what, Rochelle, USA People Search?
Yeah.
Find the seller.com.
White pages.
Findtheseller.com.
Yeah.
You get to write this, all the stuff down, y'all find a seller.
White pages.
Find the
White
seller.
pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, white pages you can do a reverse lookup.
There you go. Right.
We have
Google.
a secret way, but we can't tell you that. But that's a serious LRE documentary way. You gonna tell me what LaShawn came up with? I mean, that's crushing them.
No, I don't know if anybody knows, but there's a website called cyberhomes.com.
Okay.
And it'll actually, it's actually a satellite picture. And you can zoom in and actually see the property.
Yes.
And you can pull back on it and it'll give you a map of like all with the street names and everything. So say if you wanted to print out, I don't know, McCullough Street.
Right.
1805 McCullough Street, and you can back it out and see, okay, well, you know, Madison, Drewdale, all that, whatever.
Good.
You know,
I
so
just
you
picked
can-
up 1918 McCullough.
Did you? I used to live in 1806 McCullough.
Okay.
Really?
You know, yeah.
So that's cyberhomes.com?
Yes, ma'am.
That's hot. That's hot. And now to go further, if none of that brings you anything, you can pay $35, $40 for an online detective, and he's called a skip tracer. All right, skip tracer.
Skip trace.
Right, so you can Google skip tracers and get a whole list of online detectives, and they'll track this person out. They're going to cost you a little bit more than the other stuff you just got. All right. And typically, the harder it is to find someone, usually the bigger the deal is. Easier it is, bigger the deal is. Sometimes if you see small signs for sale in a window that's all discarded, old, everything like that, that's
Water
usually a big
damage.
deal. Say it again.
Water damage. Rain
Water
in the
damage,
building.
rained on, all that kind of stuff. Real good deals come that way. All right. Now, number 6 works well in Baltimore as well as in county areas and stuff like that. Okay. Actually, I would prefer to find a deal like number 6 that somebody's not taking care of the lawn. They used to take care of the lawn, but now they're not taking care of the lawn and stuff like that in PG County, rather than getting somebody that's in a pre-foreclosure situation. Okay?
Yeah, I found one like that, and I used the SDOT that you told me about, but I didn't know what to do after I did that. I found the
So
owner.
close.
Found the owner wasn't living there. It was a second property, but
You
I got
still
stuck.
have it?
Of course.
So now we're gonna work it.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely. Number 7, which is multiple listings. So if you and one of the team members you're gonna need, and I know that's another subject, one of the team members, you're gonna need an agent. Some of you guys are agents, so that's great. But having access to the multiple listings, excellent. You need to have that. You need to have that. Because you can pick up, I know there's categories that you can pick up out of town owners, that, you know, absentee owners and all this kind of, and those people, and that you wanna focus on. Every time we get one off the list, and now you're gonna have access to the list we're gonna give you. When I see somebody from out of town, I mean, I will send them multiple letters, and y'all gonna get the letter writing campaign.
Yeah, we got a guy, when we picked the last 2 properties up from, and we were doing the letters, and he said, this guy's from New York, and he's from Brooklyn, where you from? We're gonna get something from him. That man called, they called us, we picked up the one on McCullough from him, because he's all the way up there. A lot of these people that you're gonna pick up properties from are people who started and got, as Taylor said, stuck in the pond and don't know what they're doing. And sometimes those aren't deals, but a lot of times right now, they just wanna get out of them. So you can pick them up for what they got.
Yeah, and keep that in mind too, that you will pick up deals. Most times Lola and I are not looking to deal with other investors. Very tough to make substantial deals with other investors. But now you got so many deals that investors didn't quite have all the information. You know, they went to these seminars and Carlton sheets and all this other kind of stuff, and I have these programs that they shouldn't have been paying all that money for, and they didn't give them everything that they were supposed to get, right? And so they were in the pond, they went all the way halfway across, and then they, you know, didn't have the support in order to make it happen. You can still make deals with those people. You still can, but you got to be exceptionally careful because they trying to just dump their problem on you. So be careful. But I'm going to give you the Mayo formula. Some of you already have it, but I'm going to give it to you again today, and we'll dissect it a little bit to make sure that if it's not in Mayo, this is another thing where Lola always says, listen to what we're giving you. Mayo, M-A-O, maximum allowable offer, tells you if you have a deal or not. And there's a few agents in the room, so you guys know what houses are selling for. And I like to use, because we're in Baltimore and we only stay on the block, I'm kind of going all over here, but we stay on the block, we only use the block. We don't use a half-a-mile radius. We only use, for comparative analysis, the block. If it's a long block, use the half of the block that you're on. All right, seriously.
And if it's a cul-de-sac, you just all the houses in a cul-de-sac.
But you're not gonna
It's
find
between
that
cul-de-sacs in Baltimore.
But I'm just saying.
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
Right.
And Hayward keeps apologizing for being all over the place, but that's what happens when people give you what's in their head.
Yeah.
That's what happens when people give you what they know works because it worked for them, and it's not textbook. It's gonna be all over the place, because every time he thinks about one thing, it reminds him of something else that he wants to share.
That's why I want y'all to write it
That's
down.
okay, that's okay.
It's okay?
Yeah.
That's
Good, but write it down. Write it down.
Yeah, because you ask him again and he might not.
Right. I could be somewhere else completely. Somebody had a question? Anybody? No? All right. Contact landlords that are evicting tenants. Now here's the big deal. And this one I very rarely give this one out. In Baltimore City, there's a list of evictions that landlords have executed, and it's in triplicates. In Baltimore at the courthouse, I don't know which one it is. I can't remember which one it is. They have what they call the pink sheets. Get the pink sheets and write down all the addresses and send the landlords the very letter that we're going to give you later today. That's hot. And let me tell you something, almost nobody's doing that. The pink sheets.
Resources.
Hmm?
I said resources.
Yeah. The pink sheets. Super, super big.
Yeah.
Lola and I not even doing that.
So you go down to the courthouse?
You got to go down to where the evictions are being filed in Baltimore City. So just find out where the evictions are being filed in Baltimore, and there's a sheet, and they leave it out. One of our students actually took the list.
That's
She thought it was for her to take. This thick. She said, oh, they said, where's the pink sheets for the eviction? She said, oh, they said over there. And she said, okay. She took the sheet and left. By mistake.
Okay.
So, but you can go there and just write them down all day long and send letters to these people. All right?
Cool.
This is huge. This is huge. And a lot of times, you know, these guys are frustrated. Super frustrated.
And a lot of them are stretched too thin.
Right.
See, people ran up there and bought a bunch of properties. You gotta remember, everybody wants to have a whole bunch. They figure if I go out and buy 5 and renovate them, and I got 5, but what they account for is if 5 people decide they don't want to pay you rent, then you got 5 different mortgages that you got to keep up with anyway. So a lot of them are doing that, and like you was talking about, people getting caught in the middle of the pond. The same thing happened. A lot of people went up there because they could buy houses for $5,000 and $10,000 or 10 houses, and then try to rehab all the 10 houses at the same time. So maybe one of them got done, and everybody, all the rest of them, falling apart. You all do know that a house depreciates and falls apart more when nobody's living in it.
Yeah, much quicker.
So they fix them up and put all this money in them, and then now they're falling apart because nobody lived in them. It's fully renovated, but it was fully renovated 2 years ago.
Right.
So now it's a hot mess.
Can you give a sample of how you would do the letter to the landlord or approach?
Oh, we're gonna give you. We're gonna give it to you. We're gonna give it to you. And for the landlord, I mean, we're gonna give you a letter for individuals, and for the landlord, just
tweak it.
That's
You
all.
have a packet, a letter writing campaign in there, and you just would tweak one of those letters.
And that's it. I mean, I want you to keep it simple. No form letters and all that kind of stuff. Keep it simple. Now, when you send it to the landlord, if you don't want to write it, you can type it. But I would still leave it handwritten, wouldn't you?
Well, the letters that the students are now sending to the businesses, yeah,
You're typing them?
You're typing those up. Okay,
Type
because what's her name? She wrote hers. Sylvia, she's been handwriting hers.
But
I
you
don't
can
really
type
think it don't make.
And I don't think that on that level it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
for individuals, I want you to handwrite it. Yeah. And I have students that say that they used to do, they used to copy the handwriting, and now I have students saying they rather just write. I think Michael L says he's writing every single one
We write them all
with the
out.
authentic, making it authentic. Absolutely. Some of the stuff that we're doing, we're crossing stuff out. We're writing it and then crossing stuff out, and then make pretend that we made a mistake. All right. These are tips. These are the tips.
No, these are, and so anybody who's been to one of the free workshops knows, and now you can very clearly see that you didn't get everything. So when you ran off by yourself and tried to figure out how to go do it, remember we said this is just some basic information to tell you how it's done. But you can't. I mean, how smart would we be if we gave everything away at the free workshop? So I mean, and the thing is too, we don't have that much time.
Right.
Remember, this is 5 hours, and now you know what I'm saying? So we don't have that much time. So you gotta know when you go into these free workshops, I'm gonna keep telling you, they're great to go to just to meet people and network, but you will not possibly learn how to get this deal done going and sitting and listen to somebody talk.
They're not designed for that. These free workshops are designed for one thing and one thing only, for you to run to the back of the room to sign up for the paid for. And then the paid for one is designed for you to run to the back when you had the paid for one and sign up for the bigger package. I mean, Lola and I, we've been there. We know. It's all designed for you to just keep boom, boom, boom. And they know that there's a certain percentage of people that will continue to go on. All right?
We have a marketing mentor who teaches us the specifics, and we get in trouble a lot because we don't do what he says for us to do.
Right.
Because it's not all about just the upsell for us, so we get in trouble a whole lot. But our platinum students, we're teaching them how to do that too, with regard to their own personal businesses. See, you might have heard me say this before. Real estate is a conduit. It's a vehicle for us. I mean, some people want to be full-time ministry. Some people want to write full-time. Some people want to ride bikes around the world. Whatever you want to do, real estate is a way for you to be able to afford yourself to get to do those things that are your passion. And so another thing that we're excited about, and I've been for my whole life, is trying to help people shine lights on what their purpose is and what their passion is. And that being the case, use real estate money to fuel that. So we're teaching people too in the Platinum program how to not just use real estate money to fuel that, but how to market it on an information marketing level and make, you know, there's one cat, what did Vincent James, what, $77 million or something like that in a year off info marketing. So that's another aspect of what we're trying to teach you is how to take, after you get the money, then what you gonna do? After you get the job out the way and you can think clear, because you ain't gotta be there every day, now what you gonna do?
Yeah, because a lot of us can't get to our potentials because we're worrying about the 9 to 5.
Absolutely.
We can't get there. So we want freedom. You know what I'm saying? We're not interested in being millionaire makers, but we're interested in becoming freedom makers. We want people to be free to get to what you want to do. You know, I mean, man, it feels good when you can just lay on your bed all day long watching TV.
Oh, jeez.
I knew that would get it. So and contacting other landlords, getting in contact with other, and you can do that. I think you can do a search criteria in the MLS for landlords, right? Okay, so get that. So that's why you guys that are not agents, there are plenty of agents in the room today, so make sure you get their cards.
Agents, raise your hands, please.
Right.
Thank you very
And
much.
agents in the room, I love you guys, so make sure you make them pay you something. Don't do nothing for free. Yeah, commission is one thing too, and I'll go into that. How you guys can get agents, but there's plenty of agents in the room. But how you can get agents on your team? Well, let me give it to you now. Well, go ahead, you tell them, because you tell them better than me. How to get agents on your team?
Well, Rochelle, how do you get agents on your team? What do you tell agents?
What do I tell agents?
Not you, but what would somebody say to you? Like we usually tell people, when you go to an agent, when you go to anybody, there's got to be a buy-in for them.
There's got to be
something in it for them. So for the agent, you got to know that they want money. They don't do it for free.
Yeah.
So you tell them, hey, look, I want to be big in this thing. I want to do volume. You know, wholesaling is about doing volume, getting a lot of deals. So, hey, look, as I get these deals under contract, if I decide to list them, make sure you say if you decide to list them. If I decide to list them, you'll be the person that I list them with.
Right.
So then they can make the commission off of the properties that you bring to them, off of the comps that they may give to you. Now, just in case you don't find a lot of agents that want to participate and give you comps, that one right there, her name is Rochelle Parks, and she has a listing, comp service that she does. I'll let her tell you later on how much the comp service is. I mean, I didn't know she was gonna come, so it's not about me pitching. It's just that she does that, and she does it very well. And all of our students go to her to do it, because it just keeps them from having to run around and find somebody to pull comps from.
Right. And you need that, and you gotta always remember the WIIFM. You wanna write that down?
What's in it for me?
What's in it for me? What's in it for me? You always got to be able to put that out for the other person.
That's right.
If you putting something together and it's only for you, it ain't gonna work. You got them for about a week.
And that's what made the best salespeople the best salespeople. And people don't get that. It's that they're always looking at each person, seeing what's in it for that person, and you have to sell to that. Let me tell you something. Whether you call yourself a salesperson or not, you a salesperson.
Right.
Okay, if you got a job, you a salesperson.
Period.
If you got your kids to do something you didn't want them to do, you a salesperson.
Right.
Hands down. So you always got to be definitely looking to see how to make that happen.
Yeah. Now, for the pre-foreclosure business, is a good business. However, we're telling all our students not to do it in Maryland right now. So skip over it. Don't do it right now. You gotta learn the laws of the land in order to do it. In Maryland, there's some serious laws on the books that they will put you in jail. Now, when I was teaching,
716.
That's right, SB 716.
761.
Right, SB 761, if you wanna look into it, is the first law that they put on the books, and it took them almost a year to put somebody in jail, but then when they put one person in jail, they put 4 others right behind them. So they will put you in jail.
For what?
For pre-foreclosure, pursuing people that's in foreclosure or about to be in foreclosure within the confines of this law. It's an extensive law. I got some of the little stuff about it in here, but this is the
We'll give you the website to go on to pull it up.
This is the abbreviated version.
Okay.
You need to have the whole thing.
Okay.
But what I'm telling you here now, avoid it. Don't even bother with it. Go to Baltimore, get this low-lying fruit, execute these deals,
Get started.
make something happen, learn the foundation, and when you decide that you want to do something else in addition to the wholesale that you're getting out of Baltimore, or say that the 50,000 boarded up properties in Baltimore is down to 10, which I'm telling you is going to be a long time. I'm telling you, Baltimore City, when we are very, very old, we'll say, man, I was a part of bringing this whole thing together in Baltimore City, and that's a while. 50,000, and that's only the 50,000 that's on record. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, well, what's actually going on in Baltimore, since Baltimore is so close to the metropolitan area, which to me would think that that would be prime property, that close now to DC and, surrounding Maryland to get back, because you talking about being in DC at the max, you're talking about an hour to get to Baltimore. Why is so many properties still available at this time? And I know right now we're going through this foreclosure stuff and all of that, and I understand that. But prior to last year.
Can I answer?
By all means, yeah.
One of the things is, in Prince George's County, if you see a house that's vacant, maybe it's been vacant for about a year. In Baltimore City, you may have a house that's been vacant for 25 years. You can't just take that house, even if you're the city. There's a process that you have to go through in order for that property to be available to be sold again. And most of the properties that are abandoned have been abandoned for years. And you got people who've moved out of the area, don't nobody know where they are. Half the people that we get in contact with, especially when it comes to them, it's been sitting there for a long time. If you had to find that person, they don't even think they still own the property.
That's right.
So in order for those properties to be revitalized, those people have got to be contacted. Something's got to happen, or they have to have had the property owing taxes long enough for the city to confiscate the property. And there's just a lot of those going on because it's such an old city. So you still got a lot of properties. You got to remember, Baltimore was a heavy industrial place.
Right.
And so when all of the industry left, the people left in, 4 or 5 block radiuses. They just got up and left. And they didn't bother to sell, do anything. And those mortgages are so old that they're gone, of course.
Okay.
But those properties are still and the city didn't take the properties because if you allow the properties to remain in the name of the owner, then you get a chance to accumulate a tax base against that person.
Okay.
So in order for them to collect to get the property back, they gotta shell out money to the city. There's a grouping of houses they call TIVO, and TIVO are properties in areas that are heavily revitalized. And it's like a blight on the block or a blight in that neighborhood, a house that they just mad and they just wish that you would come get it. And those fines are levied at something like $100 a day. So you got people with properties that are only worth $50,000 that owe the city of Baltimore $300,000. But they know that one day, if the economy is great enough and Baltimore City is thriving well enough, that you'll pay your money. And you'll come get your property. The only reason it's like that is because legally they can't just take the properties
Okay.
Without process.
without process. It's a process that they have to.
And they haven't
Okay.
been willing to go through the process.
What'd you say?
And they haven't been willing to go through the
They
process.
haven't been
They
willing.
haven't been willing to
But
go
in
through
certain
the
areas, when you go up there and you get lost, you'll see John Hopkins area,
They
you'll see
took
the
those.
Ritz Carlton areas. They took them through process. They still went through process, but so there's a process to go through. So, and a part of your question was, well, with the metro area
Being so close.
being so close, why hasn't it? But now there's a reason why it is. And the property prices, some of the property prices are so low that they are starting to exercise that ability. They're putting in the metro line. Well, it's not a metro line, but there's a new railway that's going through Baltimore, coming right to DC, also hitting New York, Philly, Delaware, and it's going to be another way for the corridor. So it's going to happen, right?
Okay,
And the traction of revitalization for Baltimore City, they've made the attempt for years. I'm talking about over 20 years they tried to bring Baltimore City back, and a few other cities as well. But now they have the reason. One, because it is a little bit closer, property prices and everything have been down for so long. You have big developers and investors that have been telling small investors not to go to Baltimore, and they've been coming to Baltimore, and you got people like us that are telling you to go there. So the traction is finally going. It's still a slow process, but it's happening now.
And you gotta remember, as humans, we like to think of ourselves as, we've been around forever. But we're going through phases. Remember, there was a time when everybody kind of lived in a city. Unless you had means, you lived in a city. Then those people found a way to move out to the suburbs. Now what's happening is, those people who moved out to the suburbs, they want to come back to the city. It costs too much for gas. It's just too much. Who wants to mow the lawn? Nobody even wants a lawn or a yard anymore, okay? Nobody even has living rooms in their houses. You know what I'm saying? So everything is kind of shifting. And so the demand for city, is it done?
Battery.
The demand for city living is coming back.
Strong.
Like the little boy, Justin Timberlake, sing the song, "We Bringing Sexy Back." We bringing the city back, big time.
Gasoline. Gasoline. Look at gasoline.
Yes.
That's, and that's all over the United States. That's not just here. Everybody, everywhere. All the little cities that dried up. And they dried up not just here, like Hay was saying, not just Baltimore.
Not just Baltimore.
All over the United States, they dried up little
Richmond,
cities.
Detroit.
They dried up
All
little
these
cities. But now people want to come back to the city. They revitalizing the
I keep
city.
saying I'm gonna move. I live in Maryland, but I keep saying I'm going back to DC so I can jump
Yeah,
on the bus.
yeah. And not just us, not just us.